Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Tuesday night series. I hope y'all are having a good week. Probably for most of you, you've got the day off tomorrow, so tonight might be kick back and relax. What I wanted to talk about in tonight's session was, I don't know if you've had a chance to really notice that the catalog had some very interesting stamp sets in it. They're called distinctive stamps, and they are photo quality. And what that means is the way that they're clear mount, so rubber stamps, and the way they are etched means that you have areas of low light and areas of highlight, which really help to not only give it a very dimensional look, but also really approaches almost photo quality. And so I wanted to go over what the stamp sets were in the catalog that are distinctive, as well as we're going to make a card with one. So let me show you what I mean. I've got a couple of cards here that I've made using distinctive stamps. So this one uses the All Things Good. And if you look at our koi, yes, that's just stamped with one color of ink. And yet you can definitely see the different shades of, this is actually Calypso Coral, the different shades that you get. So rather than having to ink it up and then maybe stamp it off, and then ink it up again and stamp it full strength, you just ink it up one time. We have another one, another stamp set called Healing Hugs. And look at this rose. Oh my gosh. It is just unbelievable. The shading on this. I mean, it looks so velvety. And so that is another one of our distinctive stamps. And I brought them out so that you could look at them. So this is the All Good Things. I just showed you the koi. We're going to actually be using the bonsai tree tonight. But all of the stamps in this set, including the small koi and the cute little flower, are all distinctive stamps. They also came out with a twofer, and this is Bokeh Dots. And I think I have a sample here. Yes, I do. So this is what the Bokeh Dots looks like. Again, inked up only one time, stamped only once. And you can see all of the different dimensions that that gives. And not only do you have the Bokeh Dots, but you also have this lovely kind of a fireworks pattern or starburst pattern, which I haven't had a chance to use yet, but I know is going to be really nice. So those are the three that I have right now, the Bokeh Dots, the All the Good Things, and the Healing Hugs. There's one more called Seize the Day, and that's on my next order. And that is kind of masculine themed. It has trees and a hiker. It's really a very nice, versatile set. All right, so that's what our distinctive stamps look like. And hang on a second, I gotta let Winnie in the room. She's fussing. There you go, baby girl. I should know better than to lock her out of the room. So let me bring in, again, we're gonna be using All the Good Things. And I'm gonna be using my Stamparatus. Really good for this because on the off chance that I don't get a good impression, I know I can stamp it, just restamp it, and it will line up perfectly. And I've already got the bonsai tree stamp loaded here. Our colors for tonight, we're going to be using Pacific Point and Shaded Spruce. And I've got some really pretty DSP to use. But this is how easy it is to get a great image. I've already got a rectangle cut here from Whisper White. I've got my Shaded Spruce. I'm just going to go ahead and ink up my stamp. And don't worry if it looks like it's not completely inked. Remember, you've got highlights and lowlights. A great example of that is right here on the bonsai pot. You can see that may look like it's not inked, but it actually is. All right, now that I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and press it down. And for this, because this is a clear mount or red rubber stamp, I took the mat out of the Stamparatus because you don't need it. You've already got cushioning. All right, let's see what it looks like. And there you go. Look at how pretty that is. One inking, one stamping, and you can see the dimensionality on it. All right, so let me give my stamp a quick wipe here, and then we'll go on to making our card. And I've already got the DSP and everything cut, so this is going to go together really quickly. I'll just give that a quick wipe, and I will clean it up really well after the session. Look at that. I've already got ink all over myself. Oh, well, it wouldn't be a stamp session if I didn't get a little inky. So let's put our Stamparatus out of the way. Do that without dropping it. Close up my ink pad. We will need it one more time for our inside sentiment. And now let me show you what we're going to use for our card base and our DSP. So as I mentioned, our colors are Pacific Point and the Shaded Spruce. So I've cut a card base that's 4 1/4 by 11, scored and folded at 5 1/2. And then I have a piece of this beautiful DSP, which is from Garden Impressions. And I just love it. It's got yummy, yummy colors. And here we have the Shaded Spruce and the Pacific Point. And I have this cut to 4 by 5 1/4. That leaves me a thin border around of the Pacific Point around the DSP. Then what we're going to do is I cut another piece of Pacific Point, which measures about 2 7/8 by 3 7/8, which is the same size as what our rectangle is. And I'm actually going to angle. So my panel, my stamped image panel, is going to go straight up and down, but I'm going to angle that other piece of Pacific Point just to give it some interest. And I liked the way that looked, but decided I wanted to oomph it up just a little. So I cut one of our new doilies, the pearlized doilies, into 4ths, and I'm just going to use, if I can remember how they go, this goes there. I'm just going to use 1/4 on each of the corners here, just like that. Get up there, and that will lay on top. And I thought that the pearlized doily gave it just a little bit of shimmer and shine and some extra added interest. But you certainly could leave that off if that's too foo-foo for you. Not a problem. It looks just as good like that. All right, so let's go ahead and put this together. Oh, I also cut a length of our mini ruffled ribbon. Now, this is actually Tranquil Tide, I think. Could be Shaded Spruce. It might be Shaded Spruce. But I thought it would be a nice little compliment at the bottom. We may use it, we may not use it. I'm just going to keep it over to the side. I'm going to go ahead and glue the DSP directly to my card base. And you don't need to use a lot of glue. Just around the edges I found works just fine. Line this up and slide it into position. And as you can see, it is the Pacific Point is the perfect backdrop for that. Now I need to decide, do I want to use the pearlized doily? Because if I do, I need to put that down before I do these two panels. So let me just check and see if I do indeed want it. It might be a little too busy. I liked it on my koi card that I did, but the DSP on that wasn't quite as busy. And you know, I think I'm going to leave those off. I will save them for another card. Oh, wait a minute. What if we put them in these corners? Would that work? Let's just see. Half the fun of making a card is playing around with it to decide. What do you guys think about that? Oh, I kind of like that. Let's do that. We'll glue the doilies down. Hi, Paula. Thanks for joining. We'll glue the doilies down to the DSP itself. And doing that is very easy. There's some nice areas, wide enough areas here where you can just put dabs at the top and at the bottom. I'm not going to get too fussy about this. Oops, got to remember which way it goes. Right like that. And just squeeze it in until it's lined up. Come on. There we go. And I'll do the same with this one. Are you having a good evening, Paula? I know I'm kind of dreading the 4th of July because poor Winnie, like so many other four-legged family friends, she hates the fireworks. So I know it's going to be a night spent on the floor soothing her tomorrow night. Thought about just loading her in the car and driving somewhere. Trouble is, there's probably going to be fireworks just about everywhere. All right, so we've got our doily down. And now the next decision is, do I pop anything up? And I think what I'll do, I do want to pop up my image panel, but I'm going to go ahead and glue this flat to the DSP. And I just want to make sure I have it in the right spot. And I think I do. But rather than lifting up that blue panel, because I tell you, if I do, I know that I'll get it on there crooked. So what I'm going to do, oh, I haven't gotten my paper pumpkin, or I haven't started my paper pumpkin yet. So you'll have to post pictures of whether you do it straight the way the kit does or whether you improvise. All right, so I'm going to keep, I know that the placement of my blue mat is right. What I'm going to do is just gently bring up a corner and I'm going to glue it down with my glue dot. Glue dots work just as well to hold things down as your multi-purpose liquid glue. So in a case like this where placement is really key, I often will go ahead and use my glue dots. All right. So that's on there. As I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and pop up this panel. So I'll bring out my dimensionals. Yep, I brought some. And we'll just go ahead and stick them on the four corners here. And I like to put one in the center to keep it from dipping. Come on. Those things like to stick to everything. So we'll peel these off. Now, because I have that blue matte cattywampus, I'm going to make sure that I line up the actual card itself so it's straight, and that will help me make sure that my placement of my image panel is on there straight. So I'll gently lay it down, pick it up, and decide if I need to make any adjustments. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so that hasn't taken us very long at all. Now let's check to see if we want to use that mini ruffled ribbon. And you know, I think that is just a little bit too much. So I'll save that for another card. All we have left to do now is our inside panel. So I cut a piece of Whisper White, slightly smaller than the inside, so it measures 4 by 5 1/4. And now I'm going to figure out what sentiment do I want. So no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted, is on the front. What do we have that would look good with that from that set? Thank you for your thoughtfulness. That sounds good to me. So let's go ahead and pull that one out. I don't think I've even used this one yet. Oof. And I'll bring back in my Stamparatus. And I'm just going to flip my plate. Since I haven't thoroughly cleaned that one, I don't want to take it off yet. And place this right there. And then I will put our sentiment on there. Lining it up. And hopefully I got that straight. Let me see here. All right, like that. And bring back in our shaded spruce. Oops, move my paper. This is why it's great to have the Stamparatus. You know, you can just put it right back down there in the corner and it's going to line up. And there we have it. Now, you know, I think that it needs just a little bit extra on the inside. How about if we take that little flower that's also in the stamp set and use it? And I should have brought in a block for this because I want to stamp a couple times, but we'll make do. And you're going to see just how lovely this stamps up. Look at how gorgeous that flower is. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Wipe that off and reposition it. And we'll put another one, I think, down here, just to give it a little balance. Still leaves plenty of room to write your note in there. Ooh, I got a lot of ink on that. And there we go. Give that a quick wipe. Since I did get so much ink on it, my shaded spruce is really juicy. Slide this out, make sure it's dry. And we'll put that aside for a moment. And bring back in our card base. Again, I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue around the corners for this. And you don't want to put too much. If you put too much on there, you'll end up seeing kind of a ridge or a line on your cardstock. So you always want to have a light hand with your liquid glue. All right, so there's the inside of our card, and there's the outside of our card. And I really don't think I want any extra embellishment since I've got those pearlized doilies ends on there. I think it gives it just enough shimmer on its own. So that's our card. So let me bring back in the other two just kind of for comparison. But as you can see, using those distinctive stamps, it doesn't take long at all to create a really beautiful image that looks like you had to stamp it multiple times. Hi, Anne. Thank you for joining. And I moved my video setup into my office so I could hardwire my filming computer into the network. And hopefully that will fix the quality issues that I've experienced the last couple times. I just don't think the Wi-Fi here in the house is strong enough to support video recording. So keep your fingers crossed that on replay this is clear, and that when I upload it to YouTube it's also clear. All right, any questions? Well, thank you very much, Anne and Paula, for your kind comments. I think all three of these are outstanding, and I hope that you'll consider getting the stamp sets. If you don't have them, at least get one to try. They're very inexpensive. And if you do have any questions, just pop me a line in the comments, or you can also reach me through my blog at www.cardsbywinnie.wordpress.com. You can reach my store from there as well if you do decide that you want to order one or more of the distinctive stamp sets. I'll say goodnight for now. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Be safe, and I'll see you on Saturday. Bye-bye now.